In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, my brothers and sisters, I want to start with something honest, something that most of us have never been told directly, something that sits at the root of so much of our pain, our anxiety, our restlessness, and our spiritual emptiness. Something that, once you truly understand it, will change the way you move through every single day of your life. Here it is. The reason so many of us are not experiencing the fullness of Allah's blessings, the reason so many prayers feel unanswered, so many hearts feel dry, so many lives feel stuck, it is not because Allah is withholding. It is because we are looking in the wrong direction. We are looking at people. We are waiting for people to validate us, to approve of us, to tell us we are good enough, worthy enough, acceptable enough. We are making decisions based on what people will think. We are living lives designed for an audience of human beings who themselves are broken, limited, and standing before Allah just like us. And all the while, Allah is watching, Allah is waiting, Allah is ready to give us everything. Everything we are searching for, everything we are exhausting ourselves trying to get from people. But He will not give it to us, not in its full, pure, undiminished form, while our hearts are turned toward His creation instead of toward Him. This is the truth nobody told us, and today I want to explore it with you, deeply, honestly, in a way that I hope will reach something real inside you. Because what I'm talking about is not just a spiritual concept. It is the difference between a life that feels alive and a life that feels like a performance. And you deserve a life that feels alive. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you did something just between you and Allah? Something nobody saw. Something nobody knew about. Something where the only witness was Allah Himself. And when you did it, how did it feel? For most people, those moments feel different. They feel lighter, they feel more real, they feel like something genuine is happening, as opposed to something being performed. And that feeling, that lightness, that genuineness, that sense of reality is telling you something important. It is telling you that your soul knows the difference between living for Allah and performing for people. Your soul knows. Even when your mind is confused, even when your habits have pulled you toward people pleasing for so long that it feels normal, your soul knows that it was not created for the approval of people. It was created for the worship of Allah. And every time you perform for people instead of living for Allah, your soul feels the disconnect. It feels the wrongness of it. It feels the exhaustion of it. This is why people pleasing is so draining, not just emotionally. It is spiritually draining because it requires your soul to do something it was never designed to do, perform for the wrong audience. And the moment you stop, the moment you redirect toward Allah, the exhaustion begins to lift. Because finally, you are doing what you were made for. I want to talk about what seeking human approval actually does to a person, not just in theory, but in lived, daily felt experience. When your primary concern is what people think of you, your heart is never truly at rest, because people's opinions are unstable. They shift, 110, they change, they are influenced by moods, by circumstances, by their own unresolved issue. The person who praised you yesterday criticizes you today, not because you changed, but because they changed, or because they had a bad morning, or because someone else influenced them. And if your peace depends on their approval, then your peace shifts with them. It is never stable, never solid, never truly yours. You become like a ship with no anchor, moving with every wave, every comment, every glance, every word from someone around you becomes a wave that moves you. And you are exhausted from the constant motion. I have sat with people, good people, sincere people, people who genuinely love Allah, who are completely paralyzed by this. They cannot make a decision without consulting 15 people, not for wisdom, for approval. They cannot take a step without checking whether people will think well of it. They cannot express an opinion without first calculating whether it will be accepted. And they are exhausted, and they are stuck, because when you need everyone's approval before you can move, you never move. And when you never move, life passes you by. Your potential sits untouched. Your purpose remains unfulfilled. And the blessings that Allah had prepared for you on the other side of that step, you were too afraid to take, remain unclaimed. This is the cost of seeking human approval. It is not just emotional discomfort. It is a life not fully lived. I keep returning to Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, because his story is the most powerful example in human history of what it looks like to let go of human approval completely. And I want to look at one specific moment in his story that I think we do not reflect on enough. The moment when he left his wife Hajarah and his infant son Prophet Ismail, peace be upon him, in a barren valley, with nothing but a small amount of food and water, in a place with no people, no resources, no apparent means of survival. And she asked him, Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, are you leaving us here? He did not answer. She asked again, did Allah command you to do this? And he said, yes. And her response, her remarkable, faith-filled, world-changing response was this: then He will not abandon us. My brothers and sisters, think about what just happened in that exchange. Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, did something that by every human standard looked like abandonment. By every human standard, people would say he was wrong. People would say he was irresponsible. People would say he had failed as a husband and a father. And he did it anyway because Allah commanded it. He let go of what people would think completely, without hesitation, without apology. And what did Allah give him in return? He gave Zamzam, a well of blessed water that has been flowing for thousands of years and continues to flow today. He gave Makkah, a city that became the holiest place on earth. He gave a legacy. Prophet Ibrahim, peace be upon him, is called the friend of Allah. He is honored in every tradition. He is remembered and revered until the end of time. He lost nothing by letting go of human approval. He gained everything. And this is the pattern, this is the divine law. This is what Allah has shown us through His prophets and through the stories of His most beloved servants. When you let go of people, Allah gives you everything. I want to talk about something that I think of as the divine exchange. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, described it in words that should stop us in our tracks. He said, whoever seeks the pleasure of Allah at the cost of the displeasure of people, Allah will be pleased with him and will make the people pleased with him too. And whoever seeks the pleasure of people at the cost of the displeasure of Allah, Allah will be displeased with him and will make the people displeased with him too. Read that carefully. Read it again. When you choose Allah over people, Allah gives you both His pleasure and the good opinion of people. When you choose people over Allah, you lose both. Allah's displeasure and people's displeasure. This is the divine exchange, and it is completely counterintuitive. We think, if I prioritize what people think, I will secure their approval. I will have their good opinion. I will have their love and acceptance. But Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is telling us that strategy produces the opposite of what we want. It produces Allah's displeasure, and it produces ultimately and inevitably people's displeasure too, because people can sense inauthenticity. They can feel when someone is performing, when someone is shape-shifting to please them. And deep down, even if they enjoy the flattery, they do not truly respect the person who has no spine, who has no authentic self, who changes with every crowd. The person people truly respect is the person who stands for something, who has conviction, who will say the truth even when it costs them, who lives by their values even when it is inconvenient. And ironically, that person, the one who has stopped performing for people and started living for Allah, ends up being the one people are most drawn to, most moved by, most influenced by, because authenticity is magnetic. And the most authentic human being is the one who lives only for Allah. My brothers and sisters, let me be specific now. Let me tell you exactly what Allah gives you when you stop seeking approval from people and turn to Him. The first thing He gives you is peace, real peace. Not the temporary relief of having pleased someone, not the fragile comfort of having avoided criticism, but the deep, stable, unshakable peace that comes from knowing that the one who truly matters is pleased with you. This peace does not depend on circumstances. It does not evaporate when someone criticizes you. It does not shatter when you face difficulty, because it is not built on the shifting sand of people's opinions. It is built on the rock of Allah's approval, and Allah's approval, once earned through sincerity, is constant. It does not change with the weather. It does not shift based on your social standing. It is tied to your intention and your effort. And those are things you can control. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, described the richness of this peace. He said, richness is not having many possessions. Richness is the richness of the soul. A soul that is at peace, that is not constantly chasing approval, that is not anxiously monitoring what people think. A soul that knows its Lord and rests in. That knowing, this is what Allah gives you when you stop seeking from people. The second thing He gives you is clarity. One of the most disorienting effects of people pleasing is the loss of clarity. When you are constantly trying to figure out what different people want and trying to be that for all of them, you lose touch with who you actually are, what you actually believe, what you actually want, what Allah actually wants for you. You become confused, fragmented, pulled in too many directions at once. But when you let go of people's approval and make Allah your reference point, clarity returns, because there is only one question now. What does Allah want? And that question, while not always easy to answer, is at least singular. You are not trying to satisfy 1,000 different people with 1,000 different expectations. You are trying to align with one standard, one truth, one Lord. And in that alignment, you find yourself again. You rediscover what you believe, what you value, what you are here for. You find clarity. The third thing He gives you is strength. There is a particular kind of strength that comes from living for Allah alone. A strength that people around you will notice, even if they cannot name it. It is the strength of the person who can say no when no is the right answer. Even if it disappoints people, even if it costs them socially. It is the strength of the person who can say yes when yes is what Allah wants. Even if people do not understand, even if it makes them uncomfortable. It is the strength of the person who does not need the room to agree with them to know that they are right. This strength is not arrogance. It is not stubbornness. It is not dismissiveness of others. It is simply the quiet, grounded confidence of someone who knows who they are, who they belong to, and what they stand for. And it is one of the most beautiful qualities a human being can have. Allah gives this strength to the one who has chosen Him over people. My sound. Brothers and sisters, I want to be honest with you. Making this shift is not easy. It is one of the most challenging inner journeys a person can undertake. Because people pleasing is not just a habit. For many of us, it is woven into how we were raised. We were taught from childhood that love is conditional on behavior, that approval must be earned, that fitting in is safety. These patterns go deep, and they do not dissolve with one lecture or one moment of inspiration. They dissolve through consistent, patient, intentional work, through returning again and again to the choice, through building brick by brick a different foundation. Here is how you begin. Start with your private acts of worship. The prayers you pray when nobody is watching. The charity you give that nobody knows about. The remembrance you make in the quiet of your morning. The tears you shed in prostration when the house is empty. These private acts are the training ground for living for Allah. Because in private, there is no audience to perform for. There is only you and Allah. And when you practice that sincerity in private, it begins to spill into the public areas of your life. Begin to audit your decisions, not dramatically, not all at once, but gently, honestly. Start noticing when you are making a decision based on what people will think, rather than what is right. Just notice it, name it, and then just once, in a small way, make the other choice, the Allah-centered choice, and see what happens. You will find that the thing you feared from people rarely materializes, and the peace you gain from choosing Allah exceeds anything you could have gained from their approval. Make one supplication every single day, O Allah, free my heart from dependence on people. Make your approval the only approval that moves me. Let me live for you sincerely, fully, without performance. This supplication, said daily with sincerity, is powerful, because you are asking Allah to do something that only He can do, to transform the heart, to redirect it, to free it. And Allah, who is the turner of hearts, will answer the supplication. He will work on your heart in ways you cannot engineer yourself. Ask Him, trust Him, and watch what He does. I want to address something that is perhaps the most painful version of this struggle. It is one thing to let go of the approval of strangers, of acquaintances, of people who do not know you deeply. But what about the people you love? What about when your parents disapprove of a choice you are making for the sake of Allah? What about when your spouse does not understand the path you are on? What about when your closest friends pull back because you are changing? This is where the theory meets the hardest reality. And I do not want to minimize it. The pain of disapproval from people you love is real. It cuts deep and it deserves to be acknowledged. But I want to offer you two things. The first is a reminder. Allah does not ask you to stop loving the people in your life. He does not ask you to stop caring about them. He asks you not to let their opinion override His command. There is a difference between loving people and being enslaved to their approval. You can love your parents deeply and still make a choice they do not initially understand. You can honor and respect and cherish your family and still live for Allah first. The second is a promise. When you choose Allah and you do it with love, with wisdom, with patience and gentleness, Allah has a way of softening the hearts of the people around you, of bringing them along, of creating understanding where there was confusion. Not always immediately, not always in the way you expect. But Allah is the subtly kind. He works in ways we cannot see. Trust the process. Stay gentle with the people you love and trust Allah with the outcomes. My brothers and sisters, I want to close by painting a picture of the life that is waiting for you on the other side of this shift. A life, where you wake up in the morning with a clear sense of purpose, where the first question of your day is not what do people need from me today, but what does Allah want from me today? A life where your decisions come from your values, not from your fears, where your words are true, not calculated, where your actions are sincere, not performed. A life where criticism no longer breaks you, where disapproval no longer paralyzes you, where the withdrawal of someone's approval no longer sends you into crisis. Not because you have become cold or indifferent, but because your stability no longer depends on the shifting opinions of people. It depends on Allah, and Allah does not shift. a life where you truly experience what the Quran describes as contentment. That deep satisfaction that has nothing to do with how much you have or how many people approve of you. That comes simply from being aligned, from living in accordance with who you were created to be and what you were created. For this life is not reserved for the saints and the scholars. It is available to you right now, starting with one decision, one shift, one moment of turning toward Allah instead of toward people. Will you make that turn? My brothers and sisters, stop performing, start living, stop seeking from people what only Allah can give. Stop exhausting yourself trying to please those who cannot grant you peace, cannot guarantee your provision, cannot protect you from difficulty, and cannot be there for you on the day of judgment. Turn to the one who can give you all of that and more. Turn to Allah. Let His approval be your goal. Let His pleasure be your peace. Let His love be the foundation upon which you build every single day, and watch with your own eyes, in your own life, what He gives you in return. He gives you everything. He always has. He always will. You just have to stop looking in the wrong direction. May Allah turn our hearts toward Him. May He free us from the prison of people's opinions. May He make us among those who live sincerely, who give generously, who love truly, all for His sake alone. May He give us the peace that comes from His approval, the strength that comes from His support, and the joy that comes from knowing, truly knowing, that He is enough. Ameen.